going. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another production meeting. With me, as always, is Matt, Alex, and Ryan. Yo. For all four of our listeners, we are now on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon Podcasts. So check us out there. Before we get started in anything, what'd you guys do this week?
I played more MLB, the show, and I started getting a little further into Phoenix Rising. So that's really good. I didn't mention that it's like Breath of the Wild for any Zelda fans here. It's very, very reminiscent to that. As far as movies go, I did the homework. And then it was funny. We were watching, because it was Valentine's weekend, we were watching the first two To All the Boys movies in preparation to watch the third on our Valentine's Day, which was Wednesday, yesterday, because she was working on Valentine's Day. And we never ended up watching it. We just we went out, we ate, and then we just sat around. And we were like talking with her sister Heidi for like all night. So before we knew it, it's like time to go to bed. So that's what I did. Those first two movies, they're cutesy. They're what you would expect.
Is it a movie or is it? I thought it was a series.
I mean, they're movies, but there's three movies. But I guess you can consider it a long extended.
No, I just thought it was. Huh. Well, now you're gonna forget what happened, and you're gonna have to watch the first two again.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes.
I didn't really. I played, the same stuff I normally played. So I haven't beat Greedfall yet. Hopefully, I can do that this week. The only two movies that I watched of note were I finally watched Greenland, which I don't know why they named it Greenland. I mean, I know why they named it Greenland, but literally they don't bring up Greenland until like the last quarter of the movie. So I'm like, is that really the title that we're going to stick to? I do not recommend it. Yeah, Gerard Butler and a meteor. So yeah, not that great. I would give it a 4 out of 10. And then I finally watched Freaky, which was I was kind of excited about. I think I had my expectations a little too high for it. Vince Vaughn's performance was, I think, it was all right. It wasn't out of the park or anything for what he was given the opportunity to do, but it was kind of a fun, smartish type of film. And just for that, I give it like a 6 out of 10 and recommend it if you like horror movies. So it was good.
He was authentically himself.
He was. And that's the weird thing. Is like he has to play, a 15-year-old girl. And I'm still getting like Vince Vaughn vibes. So I wasn't that impressed. But that said, 6 out of 10.
I know. I saw that at Walmart and I was like, I don't know if this is good enough for me to just buy it. No. I haven't even seen it, so I remember Ryan doing his review.
Yeah, I thought similar.
So it was fun. I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, if you like, if you want to see something like Child's Play meets, I don't know, Happy Death Day or something, check it out.
Oh, it's got Happy Death Day written all over it. That's what it looks like to me.
So.
Cool. Ryan?
I did nothing of consequence.
He just froze.
I will interject just because we have probably a shorter one this week. So every year for Valentine's, my fiance Rachel and I go to Walmart or wherever, and we try to find the absolute worst Valentine's movie we can find. And so we look up and we find like the lowest critic ratings on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever we feel like at the time. And this year we had a little bit of trouble because we had already gotten through a couple really bad ones and we didn't want to spend $10 on Hallmark movies. So we got the 2013 movie Safe Haven with the military guy from Transformers.
That's when we hear, oh my God, you got Septic Man.
It is insane. I highly recommend it. It's got 2 out of the blue plot twists, one of which has no bearing on the story whatsoever, and then it cuts to credits right after. And the other one is just so bad. 10 out of 10, I would recommend.
Wow.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad.
So are you messing with us, or is it really one of those that it's so bad that you enjoy it?
It is so bad that it's good.
Okay.
It is so bad it's good, for sure. If it weren't so long, I would absolutely watch it again. It is like just short of 2 hours long for no reason. But it is definitely so bad it's good.
Safe Haven? That's what it's called?
Safe Haven.
Okay.
Awesome.
Go into it knowing nothing about it. It's even better.
Good.
Freaking opens up like a David Fincher film.
I'm trying to see if I don't think I've seen this before. I'm like looking. Is that Josh?
Yes,
Duhamel?
it is based on the Nicholas Sparks novel, who also produced the film.
Okay. We haven't had a good Nicholas Sparks movie in a while. Whatever happened to him?
These movies.
Was there ever a good Nicholas Sparks movie?
No, freaking The Notebook is terrible. That was our pick like the first year we were dating. We watched The Notebook. It wasn't even a Valentine's movie. It was so bad. Let's lie in traffic and get hit by cars. I don't understand.
Yeah, right. Okay.
What did you do?
So I actually watched Constantine City of Demons. It's one of the DC animated shows or movies that are on HBO Max right now. I also watched Batman Death in the Family, which I probably should have not watched this because the Blu-ray is like interactive, I guess, and you can like vote to see if he like dies or not. Spoilers, apparently.
Spoilers for the movie called Death in the Family.
Death
He dies.
in the Family.
Qui-Gon's funeral.
Yeah, Qui-Gon's funeral. But I did find like one of Neil Gaiman's like Death was actually one of their shorts was at the end of this, which was really good, and like the soundtrack and everything was really haunting. So I actually do recommend watching that short. It's like 10 or 15 minutes long. It's actually really good. And then for our Valentine's Day, Amy and I watched Crime Scene: The Vanishing of Elisa Lamb, which was really good, and it's on Netflix, and it's like a 4-part series, docu-series or whatever, about the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles and the disappearance of this Canadian. She's like a Canadian college student or what was. So it's really good, actually. It was really interesting to watch. So it's only like 4 hours or something like that.
No.
I saw that was a headliner, and we thought about doing that, but we went with the boys' movies.
Well, I just realized that all you guys mentioned what you did for Valentine's Day, and Jeannie and I watched both versions of My Bloody Valentine. So we joined in on that, which hopefully doesn't become a tradition, but probably will. So yeah, fun fact: the original is a Canadian film. So there you go. Put that in your memory banks.
You got horror, Valentine, and Canadian. My
Yeah, all
gosh,
at the same time,
you just hit
man.
the hat trick.
There, that's a very apropos metaphor too. The hat trick. Also, if you're down for the Cecil Hotel, there is, if you have Discovery Plus, there is a Ghost Adventures special where they stay at the Cecil Hotel that's exclusive to that, and it's like 2 hours long. And it's, if you like Ghost Adventures, i.e. Zach Baggins just yelling at ghosts, telling them to come at him, then yeah, check it out. Where are you, Ghost? You can't do nothing.
Oh man,
Stuff
it's
like
Ghostbusters.
That guy's insane.
The lack of busting ghosts, just yelling at ghosts. Ghost yelling.
Hey, there's Ray Parker Jr. There's a lion in my house.
And that also, I'm sad that I can't remember it. We definitely watched a movie that was like kind of like a found footage movie that took place. It didn't say the Cecil Hotel, but it was the whole plot and plot points dealt with like murders, and the place looked like the Cecil Hotel. And I'm sad that I can't remember it. If I remember it, or if I look it up while we're talking, I will let you know. And I'm pretty sure it was on Shudder or Amazon Prime that we watched it. But Cecil Hotel is a crazy place, man. You should just look into it.
Yeah. I was like talking to Amy, and I was like, "Don't you want to stay here when we go to Los Angeles?" And she was like, "No." And then like they started explaining like where the Cecil Hotel is according to like Los Angeles and Skid Row, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to stay here anymore."
Like it's like in a bad part of town. Like the rooms are awful. It's like a really horrible hostel. Like the only thing that looks cool is the lobby, sort of.
Yeah.
But everything else is like super sketchy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going there, man. Yeah, where do you want to stay? The place where the Night Stalker stayed? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stay there. I'm fine. I will visit. I will walk in the door and leave. But as soon as night comes, I'm not gonna be in that area, sir.
No. Yeah, because they're like lobbies, like very 1920s Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah. Anyway, speaking of horror stuff, we're ready for some news. Constantine is getting a series at HBO Max. I want Matt Ryan to come back for this, not Atlanta Falcons.
Matty Ice.
Matt Ryan. Yeah, he needs to be doing something. But apparently, I guess they're getting a person of color for the lead for Constantine, which is not a bad thing, but it's kind of interesting. What do you guys think? Constantine, I guess, is supposed to dive into J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark series that's coming to HBO Max as well. That's kind of cool.
I'm out of my element when it comes to Constantine, so you guys.
You ever watched the movie?
Yeah, but I mean that's it. I barely remember it.
Oh.
What a great Satan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still can't ever remember it. Peter.
Storm
what is
something.
Yes.
Peter McRussian.
Yeah. Peter McRussian. Sorry, Mr. Peter McRussian.
He won't mind.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't think it's funny.
That's what it says on his headshot. Peter McRussian.
I'm sure it does. Oh well. So, Constantine, yay or nay?
Yay!
I think it has enough of a following that I know of for it to. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'll probably have to do my homework beforehand. But yeah, I'm down.
I hope so. I thought that was like low viewership that killed the series they started on CW.
NBC.
Yeah.
NBC took a crack at it. Yeah.
But then they threw him on Legends of Tomorrow or whatever. He was on there for a season or half a season.
Yeah. Like he popped up on Arrow once, I think. Something like that. But yeah, he was like a main character of one of the seasons of Legends of Tomorrow. But yeah. Cool. This one's for Alex. Paddington 3 is in development.
Listen. When I posted that comment on the article, I was not knocking it because I hate the movies. I just thought, okay, I'm gonna channel my inner Meg. I'm gonna go ahead and just give this negative vibes. I'm just gonna give it negative vibes. Why do we need this? But
not knowing that everyone in the room is a Paddington fan.
Yeah, right. I know. Man, everybody's grabbing their pitchforks and being like, "What did you say? What did you say about Paddington?"
Yeah, man.
I think Paddington 2 is one of the biggest surprises I think I've ever seen in the theaters.
Yeah. These are actually really good movies. Yeah. Well, does the second one have Hugh Grant or is the first one?
One of them has Hugh Grant.
So it's Amy Adams and Hugh Grant.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are actually really good, Alex. I highly suggest watching these.
Yeah.
Does anybody have these? Are these on anybody's Voodoo?
Yep, I got you. You have 3 things of homework now: Pacific Rim and these movies.
Yeah, man. You keep piling this up.
I'm sorry. I mean, I loved Paddington. I've seen them all. I mean, I loved him when he was in Fast and Furious.
Alex, what helped? Paddington 2 was like legitimately on like top 10 best movies of 2018 lists, or 2018, I think. Whatever year it came out.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's a pretty good year of movies, if I recall, because I remember seeing a good amount of quality in that year. So okay, that's saying something. So I will maybe not make it this week's homework, but I will get to them.
Yes. Okay. Next up, Tim Burton and Netflix are developing a Wednesday Addams live action series. I'm assuming this is what we were talking about like a month or two ago. How badly do we want Christina Ricci a part of this? Like, I think that would be amazing.
So now it's just weird because I feel like Netflix is like, all right, Sabrina was kind of popular, so let's get something that's kind of like Sabrina now. What can we do? What can we do? And Tim Burton's like, I know what we can do. We can do Wednesday Addams. And they're like, that's a great idea. So sure enough, that's what we got. And hopefully, I mean, Christina Ricci's, I mean, she's got some issues right now, but she definitely doesn't have any acting jobs laying around.
Right.
So go out and do it, man. Go out and do it.
Yeah. I mean, she was made to play this character.
I think my problem with this is Tim Burton. Tim Burton has done some great stuff, but all of Tim Burton's worst is adaptations and remakes.
Dumbo, yeah.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes, Dark Shadows, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, in theory,
fine.
this should be like new. I mean, this shouldn't be like a remake or anything like that. This is just like, we're going to take this and we're going to expand upon it. So maybe it'll be
like
good.
having the statue of President Lincoln, but an ape. That was expanded upon.
Put a
Or
clever
Alice in
twist.
Wonderland, where we do
Twist.
the story of Alice in Wonderland, but without fun structure.
Yeah, but it has Johnny Depp, so that's all that matters. Hopefully
It's
this,
going to be Wednesday Addams.
yeah,
And
it's
a
gonna be
mouse that,
Pugsley.
yeah.
Actually,
And a mouse that
he'll
like
probably-
pokes somebody's eye out.
They'll probably do something really quirky, and he'll be like Thing, so you won't even see his face. It'll just be his hand running around the whole time. And they'll be like, "Fun fact,
There he
that's
is."
Johnny Depp."
Yeah.
Great.
Oh man, look at all those scissor hands.
Yeah, Johnny needs to work, so he got fired. Okay, so next up, 3 things all at once. Few trailers dropped this week. Mortal Kombat dropped today. Justice League dropped on Sunday, and Cruella dropped on Monday.
Oh, is that new Harley Quinn trailer?
I've only seen 2 of them. I have not seen the Cruella trailer yet, which I'm assuming that's what Ryan's riffing on. But
Yes.
I have not watched it, mainly because I saw the poster and that was enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens.
That's
The other
the
two
only
don't
one
look
I
good.
did watch.
This is the other ones that you did watch?
Yeah, so you told me watch these before we get on tonight, so we have something to talk about. But
I said that because I knew these 2 would be like, what? Trailers? No way.
I just flipped the script on all of y'all. I'm like, I watched all the trailers. I know what's up on all these films.
I know. I'm like so surprised now. I was like, wait.
All right. To be fair, all right. Here's the thing. Justice League. I've already seen the movie, so I'm watching the trailer just to see what looks different. The Mortal Kombat one, I like Mortal Kombat. I know the movie's going to be garbage anyway, so I don't feel like I'm going to lose anything except thinking the movie's going to look more like garbage. Cruella de Vil, like I said, I didn't want to see the trailer because I saw the poster and I was like, ugh. So those are my passes. Like, I don't think I'm spoiling anything for myself. Like, I already knew what was going to be the case. So that's why I watched 2 out of those 3.
Let me get ready to share my thoughts on the Justice League trailer real quick. Hang on.
Oh, wait, you got to...
We're still doing a freaking 4x3 crop.
Yeah. What is? I thought my YouTube was broken. I'm like, is this like a bootleg of the trailer? What is this?
Yeah.
And then I went to like 2 other links. I'm like, wait, this is what he put out. So I guess they're like, we're going to show you all this stuff, but we don't want to make it look epic. Or then again, maybe that's the way it's going to be when they show it on HBO. Who knows?
I will sit through 20 minutes if it's a 4x3 crop the entire time. I'm not watching an entire movie that already came out 3 years ago in a 4x3 crop.
Yeah.
And it's all going to look like a work print too. It's going to be like, this is all we can find, man. We didn't touch any of this stuff up.
Everybody's talking point on that also seems to be like, oh, new Joker look. And I'm like, yeah, but they're doing it in like a dream kind of vision thing so that if it doesn't work, they don't have to stick with it. But if it does work, they can just retcon that in there. That's kind of cheap.
And I'm all like, they're doing a new Joker look. And I'm like, that new Joker look looks suspiciously like an older Joker look that I've seen.
Yeah. He does look a lot like Heath Ledger. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, Wait a minute.
I mean, to
Off
be
of
fair,
my-
that's why we ripped on the previous Joker look. So I mean, I can't really fault them for it. But then again, I'm like, all right, so we're just caving in, and this is what we're going for. That's fine. You said the phrase.
Yay.
We live in a society.
I thought Mortal Kombat looked.
What is with this phrase, by the way? Sorry. I heard
It's
that like
just
3 or 4 times. I was like, we live in a society.
It's just like a meme from like 4 years ago.
Oh. Okay. Whatever.
That's all.
Yeah. So next one was Mortal Kombat. Did you guys, Alex didn't watch this one.
No, because I was supposed to, and then somebody needed me to go do an errand like right before we did this, so I didn't have time to sit down and watch it.
What?
I thought it looked all right.
Yeah, it looked okay. The CGI looked kind of suspect for a trailer, IMO. So I don't know if they're going to touch it. I'm assuming the film's more or less done. So I don't know what they're going to be touching up. But the CGI looked kind of, but they looked like they were going for a lot. So you really can't expect too much. And it looks like it's going to be pretty, like, I mean, I'm assuming it's R. I don't know if they've announced that, but it looks like it's going to be pretty heavy. So
yeah, pretty graphic. Yeah.
So I mean, that's good. And then I'm pretty sure like that last, like when they showed the words at the end, the credits or whatever, the music they played sounded kind of like the old theme song, like slowed down a little bit. So that kind of made me a little happy too, which is all I wanted, just the old Mortal Kombat theme. But I'm excited, especially if it's that graphic, but I'm sure it'll be garbage.
It can't get worse though. I mean, than Annihilation. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Then Annihilation. Yes, it can't get worse than Annihilation.
Might be one of the worst films ever made.
Very true.
So, yeah. In fact, it's ruined. It even ruined some of this. There's Alex, I'm going to say something that happens in it. It's not a big spoiler, but anyway. Yeah, there's a thing where he does like a fire dragon or something or whatever, and I immediately thought like unleash your animality, and that's the only thing that popped into my head thanks to Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah, because isn't it one of his like fatalities in like one of the games?
Yeah, man, they got animalities where they turn into animals and they kill them. They got fatalities. They got friendships where you can be nice to people. I feel like there's one more that I'm forgetting.
Wasn't there like brutality or something like that? It was like
maybe
more excessive.
Yeah.
So weird. I'm not sure about this trailer. Like, I think this is very fan service heavy because you can see like they took a lot of time to kind of like make sure like certain characters were showcased, like Sub-Zero and Scorpion and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit more accurate to the game. I don't know how much that's going to add to its quality.
But you got like a property like Mortal Kombat. You're not bringing any new people in with a story.
Right.
It's all going to be fan service anyway. That know the thing already. No one's going to be like, oh man, have you heard this new film called Mortal Kombat? Really? What's it based on? A video game? I've never heard of that, man. Let me check that out. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Wait, it's based on a game?
Yes. You can play it on your iPhone.
It's based on a real life fighting tournament, Ryan. It takes place once every generation.
I think it skipped our generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the trailers. Next up, Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai is getting an animated series with Ming-Na Wen, B.D. Wong, and Matthew Reyes. This is coming to HBO Max. I guess this is a prequel animated series to teach us not to get these things wet, apparently. Yay!
Again,
is this going to be like a prequel to Gizmo? Are we going to see like baby Gizmo running around? Okay.
Didn't I mention last week how we keep getting like all these animated shows that are going to come out? We've had it backed up for like 3 years and haven't had any of these actually come out yet.
Well, apparently this is supposed to be at the end of this year because it has its cast. Like this, like these are the main characters, and then like they said, Variety said, and more. So I don't know what that means, but apparently this is supposed to come out sometime this fall.
All right, can I say something? What did it? Has this always been standard? Like, I feel like over the past at least year or two, where like projects get announced and like casts get announced before any semblance of like product has been done. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, man, do the product first and then go out and find a cast for it. The reason I say this and I bring this up is Blade. Literally, you're gonna hire everybody for Blade, but you haven't made anything yet. You haven't even written it yet.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings TV show.
Yeah. So bad. Stop it.
Well, so to counter the Lord of the Rings thing, I think they're finishing filming actually. But yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, because I think another point is like Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe, like he's got a sequel series coming, and like he announced this like before COVID, and they're just now like scoring the thing, so he's like assuming that it's going to come out like in August. But like Mark Hamill was like a part of it, and like this, like it had like a serious cast, and he announced it like sometime last year, and it's supposed to be coming to Netflix, but like I said, they just now started adding the score to it, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know why I put this in here, but Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy is still in development.
Oh, because I shared that.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. I'm a fan of The Last Jedi.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I mean, like now that I've seen that entire series just shoot itself in the foot, I'm excited to see somebody who finally did something new with Star Wars. I say that now. Yeah, no, who finally did something new with Star Wars, especially compared to the first and third in that trilogy, to get just a series to do his own where nobody else can ruin it before and after.
Well, and in Rian Johnson's defense, I hated Last Jedi, but in his defense, I heard and read that this was pretty much a J.J. Abrams trilogy. Like he had his fingers way more all over the middle movie than Rian Johnson did, from what I've been told / read about. So who knows if he actually is gonna make something even better, or this thing's just, it's in its own grave. Give it a shovel. That's what it's doing. I don't know.
But see, I think that like his work kind of like talks for itself or speaks for itself, because besides The Last Jedi, like Brick and Knives Out and Looper were all really good movies. I mean, Looper was kind of.
I don't think that they were really good movies. They were fine. Like Knives Out, it was not spectacular. I think the take on how the whodunit, not to spoil it. I know it's been a couple of years since it's been out, but
yeah,
it does a whodunit. It kind of like tells you who did it, but then goes about like what really happened. And then, so I like that, but generally I got okay-ish vibes from that. And then Looper, same thing. It's fine. Nothing, middle of the road for me. So I'm like, but that would be an improvement, honestly, in my opinion, for Star Wars. Middle of the road's fine, because they've been kind of handling like, how much fan service can we put in? All right, we're going to put this spaghetti noodle of a plot together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, I think that if Kathleen Kennedy allows Rian Johnson to kind of like do his thing, I think it would be fine, because, there's this battle between Marvel and Lucasfilms right now where like Kevin Feige hires the people that he trusts to take care of these movies, and he hires people that he knows are going to do these movies right. Like Anthony and Joe Russo were directors on Community before they took over Captain America. And then they were rewarded like all these movies. So Feige like trusts his directors to put out the product that they want, whereas Kathleen Kennedy is really nitpicking on things that are not worth nitpicking with, and then firing directors for not really kind of conforming to whatever Lucasfilms wants. And I think that that's why they gave the last one back to J.J. Abrams, because Colin Trevorrow like went on some tangent about like everybody hating his movie before this. And so, yeah, it was like the Book of Henry or something like that. It was like a really bad movie. But she needs to trust that these directors are going to do what and kind of like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. For some reason, she trusts those two, and they've made The Mandalorian into like this cultural phenomenon right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she just needs to let them do their thing, and if it fails, it fails. It's Star Wars. It's going to make money no matter what. So, oh well. Last bit of news. So apparently everyone hates Joss Whedon.
I don't know what I opened, man. Just piles on every week, man. Somebody else coming out of the woodwork. I'd say poor guy, but nah, I can't really say that. So
no, we live in an age where it's like you better watch what you say, because in 20 to 25 years it's gonna come back to haunt you. But that's not to defend Whedon. There's some pretty like, all the Buffy people are like, this guy's insane. This guy's like a Nazi.
I don't know what it was this past week. Charisma Carpenter apparently opened up a floodgate of hatred towards Mr. Whedon. Not going to really go over all of what it was said and what was done. The only thing is because I'm a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So just kind of like a question to you guys. Does this make us bad fans if you guys are fans of the show? Or, I mean...
No, because that's...
I'm not getting a Firefly.
Right.
No, because there's so many fans of Buffy. Like, you personally, as a fan and just a regular consumer, have no idea what's going on in the background.
Mm.
You're just able to see what's on, what they record. So, no, you're not a bad fan. You know, it's like, it becomes questionable if you are a fan of Joss Whedon before this and then see all this, and then, you know, are you still one afterwards? Like, do you still want him to keep doing projects? Because for the most part, he's been able to produce and direct some pretty good things.
Yeah, and
no, I was gonna say, I mean, it's hard. I think I'm kind of with Ryan here. I'm not gonna give up my Firefly either. I think I'm gonna, just take it in stride, enjoy his work, and maybe I'll draw the line as if Nathan Fillion comes out and says something horrible about it, like I hate that guy. Then I'll be like, whoa, okay, I'll listen to that.
right.
Yeah. But I'm not going to be looking for it. I mean, he's put out some stuff. I mean, he's got his Marvel stuff that he's come out with recently. But I mean, aside from like what Cabin in the Woods, there hasn't really been anything crazy.
Did he direct that though?
I think, did he not? No, he didn't.
No.
He wrote it though.
Okay. Yeah, one of his, who is it? Drew Goddard, actually, I think directed it. But yeah, I mean, like you guys said, like Firefly, Angel, Serenity, which is kind of Firefly, I guess. Angel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Dollhouse. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's put out. Like, I mean, he was even like the writer on Toy Story, for God's sakes. So yeah, just kind of like putting that out because like I love all of his shows. I don't like him anymore, apparently. But yeah, I guess we just need to enjoy this. Because I think even like Sarah Michelle Gellar or somebody said that like we don't have to like him, but at least there's many people that put a hard effort into like making these shows. So
yeah, I mean, it's tough to dissociate that stuff sometimes too, because I'm like, every time you put on a movie that says the Weinstein Company at the beginning, how do you feel about the rest of the movie? But it's not like, if you can put on a Kevin Spacey movie and enjoy it as long as it's not American Beauty.
What?
You know how, I mean, so you can kind of disassociate a lot of this stuff, but then you watch something where it's like, oh, he's a pedophile in this movie.
Like, are you method acting right now?
Oh,
are you acting right now?
So I think that's
Apparently.
where that's kind of a case where it does hurt a little bit. But I mean, for the most part, you know,
Yeah.
Joss Whedon doesn't show up in his projects. I don't think any of that controversy seems to carry over into it very much.
It's like coming this summer, starring Joss Whedon, angry screaming director. Man, this is so authentic. How does he do it? He's really getting into his character.
10 years from now, there's going to be the behind the scenes with Joss Whedon.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of can't wait for these movies about the people now.
Yeah, right. Poor guys. Anyway, so I'm going to direct this over to Alex and talk about a little about the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, yeah.
That came. Did you forget?
No, we were getting too into the other conversations that, yes, I did forget. So no, I actually did forget about the Nintendo Direct yesterday because we were just out and about having our Valentine's Day, and I forgot. So later that night, I looked it up on YouTube, just kind of skimmed through. That was the beauty of forgetting. Like I could just skim through the things I didn't care about. Like there were a lot of what looked like indie games, a lot of like kind of reminiscent of like 1 through 5, 1 through 6 of Final Fantasy games, very similar to that. So I was like, okay, skip. So there was about, out of the 50 minutes of actual direct, there was 10-15 minutes that I actually sat and watched. We're getting a new the things that I cared about. We got kind of 1/2/1.5 characters for Smash Brothers. I already forget their names. I think one's called like Pyra. They're from the Xenoblade Chronicles games or game. I forget what the other person is called, but that's cool. I was joking around with it and I said, this is as close as they could get to another Fire Emblem character without being another Fire Emblem character, because they have like 6 of them already, and they're like, ooh, what other swordsman can we put in there? Oh man, guys, we got too many. Let's go to Xenoblade. Let's put a guy with a kind of sword, a girl with a sword thing, and she can be 2 people. That way we can put 2 swordsmen in 1 character. And I'm like, you know how many people are like raving they want like Crash Bandicoot or
That was literally was on the top of my mind.
Yeah. I forget. No, there's the Team Fortress game. There's the guy with like the machine gun. I think he's literally called Heavy. And that was actually on the top polls of like, I think it was either Games Radar or GameSpot. And that was the number 1 that people wanted. And I didn't agree with that, but I'm like, it's nice to see a little bit more variety. But so we got that. Me personally, I'm excited for the new Mario Golf game. I haven't gotten a console one in a while. Like I think I own the last one we have or that we got was back in 2003. The Toadstool. That thing was awesome. So I'm really excited about that. It comes out after my birthday, so I know what I'm going to be asking for my birthday. So we got that. What else did we get? We got another Splatoon game, Splatoon 3. I mentioned in the video that I shared that I've not played them, but I'm like, this is a no-brainer. They need to have the there needs to be several Splatoons because these are so popular. Nintendo kind of they not stumbled upon gold. I think they know what they're doing, but for the most part, I think that they didn't think it was going to be this successful, and this is an atom bomb of popularity, and know it, and they're going to continue. And it's smart, so kudos to them on that. What else? I forget it was like a kind of street soccer dodgeball kind of game. I forget what it's called. Knockout something. It looked cool. I was like, this will make me want to get multiplayer. Maybe shell out $20 for the year. It's not bad. What was the last thing? The last thing was it's cool. It depends on who you are. A lot of people are like, Nintendo, stop making remakes or stop doing remakes or remasters for games and put new content out. And I'm like, that's not fair. They do both. So we're getting Skyward Sword, which was on the Wii back in 2011, 2012, between 11 and 13. And I remember I loved that game. So I'm excited for this. I want to play this again. And with that, we're getting new Joy-Cons with it that are themed after the Hylian shield and the Master Sword. And I'm like, take my money right now because I want those. I actually went on today looking at where to pre-order this stuff. And, all right, GameStop has them. Click. Oh, they're not available. Best Buy has them. Click. Coming soon, which is their version of out of stock. So I was like, ah! So we're getting that, and that was what I got out of the Nintendo Direct. I know there's a lot more. Oh, and what is it? No More Heroes 3? I know a lot of people were excited about that. Same like Splatoon. I've never played those, but I know a lot of people like that, and I think that's a series that needed to be continued. So kudos again to Nintendo, and for the most part, a pretty successful Direct. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, do we have any more news?
I don't think you mentioned that Danny Elfman has been confirmed to be scoring the new Doctor Strange film. So
I know, and I forgot to put it in for our music lover over here.
What's this? What's this?
I think the 2016 Doctor Strange score might be one of the worst scores in the MCU.
So, Mr. Elfman, you have.
It's not like.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was gonna say it's not like downright terrible, but there's some really, really below average soundtracks in the MCU, and Michael Giacchino was just really too busy when they got him to do it. Besides, he got to do Rogue One like right at the same time, and he put way more effort into Rogue One, even though he only had 4 weeks. So,
what is your favorite MCU score? Not to deviate.
Oh crap.
That you can think of.
That's a really tough question. I really like the first Thor by Patrick Doyle. He does themes a lot, so it's a little repetitive, but it's better than like the repetition you find in like the Guardian soundtracks, which is just the same thing over and over and over again. Or the Thor Dark World soundtrack was just the Iron Man 3 soundtrack, but with less mechanic, because they had the same composer for both because they wanted to do the exact same movies. Those two movies. I like Henry Jackman's soundtracks for Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. Those are probably my 2 favorites.
I'm going to support that because he did the Uncharted 4 soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like it's interesting because they're not like consistently the most enjoyable to listen to, I think. Mm-hmm. There's some more aesthetically pleasing soundtracks, like the Spider-Man soundtracks are pretty decent.
Yeah.
But those themes sound so strong. And he commands emotion so well in those 2 films that I'd have to say probably Winter Soldier and then Civil War.
Yeah, that's a pretty good set of soundtracks. Now, Danny Elfman, I know he does he and Tim Burton are like this. So I can't think of anything other than like.
Not anymore.
He did.
They were.
He and Brian Tyler both worked on Ultron.
Did they? Wow. Huh.
Danny Elfman did the more memorable half. Brian Tyler's not interested. He's not a good pick, and they use him 3 times for MCU films. But yeah, Danny Elfman has done some good work outside. He has done his best work with Burton, so that has me a little anxious because I've listened to a lot of Danny Elfman outside of Tim Burton, and even his soundtracks that are good, like Terminator Salvation is a pretty interesting score, but it doesn't really work well. So there's a couple of scores like that where I feel like are a little outside his wheelhouse, but I don't think that should be a problem with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean he did well with Raimi and the Spider-Man movies, so
yeah, for sure.
Cool. Any more news? No?
I like that.
All right. Well, since we did our version of Tele-Vision last week for both episodes 5 and 6, Ryan, did you catch up?
Yep, it was a good episode.
And
Sweet.
the Tele-Vision's off.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't rush. I've got some thoughts, but I'm going to keep it spoiler free. I'm intrigued. So there are a couple things, and I'm trying to remember specifically that didn't land right for me. It was okay. The commercial. Oh, the freaking shark commercial. I don't
really
understand.
dark commercial
Was creepy as shit.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it at all. 0 out of 10. would not buy product.
That was Matt's favorite part of that.
That was my favorite part.
Gosh, I thought it totally, like, the commercials take you out of it in a good way. This took me out of it in a really bad way. I could not stop thinking about it for the rest of the episode. And then we were suddenly in the big finale, and I was like, crap, hang on, get the dying child out of my head. Yeah, it was a good episode.
Did any of you read? I didn't read it, but I read the headline of that article that Kip shared about how the commercials are theorized to be like the Infinity Stones or something like that. And I was like, there might be something to that. I don't know. Thought it was an interesting idea.
It is an interesting idea, but I think that they have more directed to Wanda and like her past, because with like Strucker is like how she's introduced to the Mind Stone, and then Lagos is what happens in Civil War, and it's kind of sad because they're wiping up with those Lagos paper towels and it's red, so it's blood on her hands. So yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put it past the writers to have something like that. Like I have a feeling, and there's a lot of stuff in here that they've just thrown in there, just kind of as like themes or just kind of like little snippets of trivia or things that people can notice. It can be like, ooh, is that this? And I don't think any of it's going to have any payoff later, but you might be able to correlate that to the Stones. And that might be something. But like I said, I think they just put those in there as little clever tributes or, fun facts.
Yeah, I think I agree with that line. Like, I don't think it'll incorporate any in that way, but it's a nice little idea. Like, I could see maybe it would be, but do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. No.
It was like a robot chicken skit right in the middle of my WandaVision.
Well, I told him last week it's literally my favorite part, because before, like with all the other commercials, like I knew it was part of the show. It was so nostalgic for me the way it was done that my brain automatically thought it was a commercial, and I was like, what is this? Why are we? Oh, they do this in this show, and then it gets like super dark, and I'm like, that was so messed up. And that's why I really enjoyed it. And that's why like I said, I think it was more of a nostalgic thing for me, but just the fact that it turned so dark even made it that much more entertaining.
It's going to get even more confusing this week, because I saw the little teaser, they're not really a teaser, just a promo for this. And it's looking like it's kind of like Modern Family. And so the commercial for it will look like just any other commercial. And then we'll think that we're watching, like, oh, here's a commercial for Swiffer. Like, oh, nope, she's mopping up somebody's blood.
Can we get to the 2010s where all the commercials are like self-aware and sarcastic?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Something like that.
You know what I just thought of, though, is that, do you think this commercial actually has anything to do with her killing Vision? Because Yo Magic is... Like, he couldn't get it up, but he dies.
I don't even know what was happening in the commercial. I was so distracted by the product that they were selling in it.
Yeah.
What was it, like a Capri Sun?
Yeah.
Yogurt or something like that. Yeah, something. All right. Well, WandaVision episode 7 will drop tomorrow. So next week we'll have Tele-Vision.
Tonight at 3 a.m.
The special after hours edition of production meetings.
We'll all have martinis or something. All right, so let's get to our review this week of Judas and the Black Messiah. As I told you guys before we started recording, March better be happier. That's all I'm going to say. We have been watching some rough movies this month. But Judas and the Black Messiah tells the story of Bill O'Neill and his infiltration of the Black Panthers Chicago chapter and his eventual help with the FBI in taking down Fred Hampton. So I will say that the performances for both the lead characters with Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield were really done really well. I think these two captured their characters really well. And I think it was a little like the movie had a pace that actually kept me interested in like what was going on. It didn't like lag very long on too many scenes. It didn't like, you know, it explained enough because I mean that was like my problem with One Night in Miami, that it didn't give enough context to like why these four people were important. Where this gives enough context to kind of get you updated on like what's going on. Though I was a little confused on like who Martin Sheen was until like halfway through the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, that's who that's supposed to be. But yeah, I think this was actually one of the better movies that we watched in the last 2 months. I'd probably give this like an 8. But I watched it at the beginning of the week, so I'm gonna interject as you guys go along.
If anybody else
Okay.
wants to, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So I was really exhausted going into this movie. So it's not the movie's fault. I do need to watch it again. It took me a while to get into it. And again, I don't think that's the movie's fault. So there were a couple things I really liked about it. Performances, as you mentioned, were like the forefront of my thought. Every scene that anybody was in, I was like, this deserves at least 2 Oscar nominations. And I spent a lot of the year last year trying to think of like who should win, different categories of Oscars. And I was like, oh, lead actor is going to be a fun competition this year. Daniel Kaluuya. I kind of hope he runs a supporting just so he can win. Because I know lead is a little tougher usually. I can't believe he doesn't have an Oscar based on this performance alone. I kept forgetting it was him, and then I kept being amazed that it was him. Absolutely incredible performance. Lakeith Stanfield, similarly, really great performance. And the 2 characters are really well done. Especially was Billy.
Bill O'Neill, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the most interesting characters probably put to film.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, which kind of leads me to a couple things I was neutral on. Overall, I thought the structure was fine. It reminded me of every film based on a true story where they didn't really elaborate on it that much. I know it's kind of a weird genre to pick on. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I thought. And then they lost me every time they kept adding scenes with Daniel Kaluuya. I forgot the character.
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, thank you. Every time we had an extra scene with Fred Hampton doing something that wasn't necessarily pertinent to the protagonist, Bill, I was like, the film is definitely about both characters, but I think there were more than a few scenes that took away from the more concise storytelling. And there's one in particular where he's talking with the mother of another character that just didn't really have any payoff for me at all. And I think there's a couple things like that which just kind of slow down the pacing for me. So that took me out of it a little bit. Here and there were a couple moments. There are choices to. It's a tough spot to morally justify disreputable actions.
Mm-hmm.
The film doesn't try to, and then does try to. So I thought that was also a little weird. And I don't want to spoil too much, of course. But there's a couple moments where it was like, here's a very visceral depiction of something, and this is how we want it portrayed. And the next scene, we're going to say something different about it. And I thought that was a little weird. And again, it feels like this happened 10 years ago. Now, obviously, it didn't happen 10 years ago, but I got Zero Dark 30 vibes from it, where you're touching on a subject with some moral gray, and you're not sure how to approach it. So you kind of cover all your bases. This did not happen 10 years ago. So that was just kind of an interesting choice as far as the screenplay goes. I felt like it just could have used some polishing. So I gave the film a 7. I probably need to watch it again. I'll probably love it more the second time. And again, performances are absolutely incredible. Yeah, I mean, I'll be very content if it wins at least one Oscar.
Yeah, I completely concur with what Ryan said. Actually, the performances were amazing. I didn't realize it was Daniel Kaluuya until like 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, wait, don't I know that person? And I was like, it's ridiculous, like how much he transformed into that character. Like he hasn't given off that vibe before. Like Keith did a great job too. But he's really good at playing that kind of like type of character. Like he always gives off that same vibe, I think, in all his characters. So I wasn't as surprised, but what he does, those nuances where he switches emotions from being super confident to being very like put off and almost scared or angry are amazing. And he does that really well. I love Sorry to Bother You when he was in there. I thought that was it's a weird movie, but he's really good in it. So those were great. Those were amazing. Those two performances were great, especially Daniel's. And he's going to win the Academy Award. I don't think anyone has topped him in supporting wise. I mean, there's been some good ones, which we've mentioned on this show, but he's far and beyond the best one on here. The movie itself, I think they try to cover too much and they don't do a good job of covering all their bases. Kind of what Ryan said. It gets kind of jumbled for me towards the end. And things just didn't seem to flow as well as they should. We were skipping around between characters. We were just trying to introduce characters just so they could show up at the end. And I wasn't getting enough of characters that I wanted to get enough of. And then things happened and I wanted to see what was happening. Basically kind of like you have the one guy who shoots the police officer. And then we cut to, the police officer having a standoff at the headquarters and then them having a big shootout. And then I don't think this is spoilers. It could be. I think the only spoiler of this movie is the end. And then the two people get arrested and, you figured out what happened to one, but, you don't know what happened to the other. And I just feel like there's just a lot that I wanted to know happen. And none of that was really talked about. I just kind of wanted more. And I think this movie took on a lot. It did what it could with the amount of time that it had. I mean, it is like a 2 hour and 10-minute movie. I just think there could have been a lot more to it. But like I said, the performances carried it to a 7. If it was longer, maybe I could have given it an 8. But for right now, I'm giving it a 7. I thought it was, without spoilers, that good. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm glad I went last because I was like, I wasn't sure how I felt about this. I was like, I didn't have deep thoughts about this. I was like, let me kind of take in what everybody else is kind of bringing to the table. This is the performances. Yeah, I agree. I personally wasn't blown away by them, but they were solid. Like, they kept me engaged for a while, and they didn't. It wasn't until the end of the movie that I was like, I even texted Clint. I was like, I actually think that this was 20 minutes too long because maybe it was all that disconnect character switching that made it drag on for me. And I don't like Ryan was like, maybe he was in not the best frame of mind, being kind of tired or anything going into this. And I don't think that is actually like the problem. I think the movie actually just drags on a little because I was fine. Like I was awake. Boom, let's do this. And yeah, I was like about an hour and a half. I was like, all right, let's wrap this up. The couple nitpicky things, kind of nitpicky. I don't know if anybody else thought this, but like it's really evident in the opening scene, like within the first 15 minutes, they have the score is going and it has this like really loud, like kind of almost, I don't think it's a violin, but I'm going to say it is because I don't remember what it actually was. And it's a loud, like screech, like noise, like, and it's supposed to like indicate like the intensity of the moment and whatever the character is doing / saying. And it had totally the opposite effect on me because I just kept thinking about that stupid, what sounded like a goose honking in my ear in that moment. I'm like, you guys need to blend that part in with the rest of that song or whatever, that track, because it's distracting me and it's taking away from what might be a more powerful scene or a more effective scene. So that happened at the very beginning of the movie and it happened towards the very end of the movie. And I'm like, I'm not into that. Maybe others feel different, but I just wasn't feeling it. The story was fine. I think I don't know too much about the history of it, but I feel like it kept very true to what actually happened because funny enough, towards the end, I started actually reading about the actual people and what was kind of happening towards this part of their life and towards these events. So, and I was like, okay, they're keeping true to this. So it's one of those that is more accurate than not. And kudos to them for getting all of that in. Like I said, performance is awesome. I think it's a movie that sets out and accomplishes what it was set out to do. I think it's very fair to say that. But you know, and it's obviously with the Black Panther Party and things incorporating that with the FBI. It's heavy-handed stuff. So you know, expect that kind of stuff. I personally don't think that this is a movie that would validate getting an HBO Max account, like only for that. That's me personally. Like, I wouldn't go into this going, oh man, I need to watch this. Let me pay that $15 now. As opposed to just going to like the movie theater and seeing it the one time. But you know, it's between, it's better than Little Things, or
Oh yeah.
for sure. But I did not nearly enjoy it as much as One Night in Miami. Oh, that one, that I love that movie, and it's very actually similar stuff. It's the time frames for those are really close together. So I don't know. I didn't even have a score before we started talking, so that's why I wanted to go last too. I think 6 is like a solid number from me, with no chance of like going lower. Like that would be the absolute bottom number. Like I would to maybe stuff that I could catch from, because there's a lot of times where he's talking in speeches and something he speaks a little quick for my taste sometimes, and it's hard to tell exactly what he got. And I think it's important to know all of the context of a conversation or, you know, speech, so then you know exactly what's going on. Because sometimes a single word or, you know, set of few words makes a difference in what you're trying to convey to your audience, or, you know, to anybody that's involved. So yeah, maybe next time I would probably throw on the subtitles, and so that would let me follow a little bit more. But it's not bad at all. It's a powerful movie. I think the end part, and I don't think this is a spoiler at all, because this happens in just about every as based on a true story movies. And, you know, towards the end it says, you know, what happened to these people and where they are today, if they're, you know, fortunate to still be with us. And a couple other things that happened. And I thought that actually made the movie even better. Like, it put into perspective what took place then and how it correlates now. So I like that. I think that was my favorite, not part, but I like that addition to the movie. I don't know what my favorite part is, but 6 out of 10 for me. That's not a bad 6. That's you should give it a try. It's definitely mature. You know, there's a lot of profanity in this. So, you know, parents, you know, watch what your kids are watching if you're looking to get into this. But it's for any general person. Yeah, I would say watch it. Give it a fair chance, and then just make your opinion. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But 6 out of 10.
All right. Do you want to talk spoilers about this? I mean, it's based on a true story.
Yeah, I mean, we can, market spoilers right now. Spoilers, I did want to piggyback on spoilers. What Alex just said. I completely agree. This goes back to me saying I kind of wish it was longer, but I really enjoyed the epilogue for this. I like those words on the screen. I like knowing. And I mean, it's an interesting story. It's a sad story. What happens to the gentleman and how it turns out. But then again, it's, you know, it's not a very wholesome story to begin with. So
right.
That's, I mean, you reap what you sow, I guess. And that's what happens. But yeah, I enjoyed it. What we haven't mentioned, and I don't know if there's a reason for that, but Jesse Plemons did a pretty good job too. Although this is his shtick. This is his character actor shtick. This is what he does. And he brought his A game for what he does. Was it outstanding? Did it do? No, but it held it together. Also, Alex, you meant One Night in Miami, and I believe One Night in Miami is a better film, and a lot of that has to do with, I think, the editing and the direction, and also the fact that it's a more contained story, and there's not as much that they have to tell.
Exactly.
So, but I completely agree with that.
None of us even mentioned that. I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who's in Get Out, he's not the main guy. He's like the best friend. He's in this for like that split second.
They're all in Get Out.
Yeah, they actually all are.
No, the friend is who I was like, Lil I don't Ray. Know his no, Lil and I totally forgot to. This was another bugaboo I had about the film, just not to keep overshadowing you guys. Is I don't know if I'm nitpicking on this, but like towards the end, it would go to like quick zoom in on some object or close up on somebody's face or something, and then cut black. And I kept thinking, okay, is that the end of the movie? Nope, another scene. And then they do it again, cut black. Okay, is that the end of the movie? Nope, new scene. And I'm like, they did that like 3 times, and I'm like, and I paused the movie on the screen to see where the bar was in correlation to the entirety of that movie, and I was like, okay, it says 2 minutes left or 5 minutes left. This has got to be that last scene. So I wasn't too crazy about that.
Well, I mean, I would actually, Alex, you mentioned like the score and stuff, and I'm not sure about those parts that you're talking about, but I actually kind of enjoyed the score because it did a really good job with trying to incorporate like the music of the time and like the disco and like R&B and soul type music that they put into the score. I thought was done really well. And I'm still shocked that Daniel Kaluuya is like British. Like it blows my mind that
everybody here is British.
Yeah. That he pulled this accent out like that and was, I think, like you said, Matt, this is probably the one reason why I think that he deserves it, is just trying to get that draw like that. It was done really well. So.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the score, it was just those 2 moments because, in my opinion, the score is kind of like I've mentioned several times how much I love Foley acting. Like that is my favorite behind the scenes aspect of filmmaking. And when it's done best? When you don't notice it at all. Mm-hmm. Like if you are like being conscious of this punch in this movie sounds very doctored, then it's a bad job of Foley acting. Same thing with score. Like if you blend it in so nice and it encapsulates what the scene is trying to tell you in both story and tone, then you've done a good job. And I think that was the case with me. Like I wasn't even aware of it. It just fit, other than those 2 little small moments that were like, why'd you do it that way?
Right.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. There's I found a lot of scores where it's even the point where it's a really great score, but sometimes even if it works, it's not necessarily put in very well. I thought this was fine overall. I really liked the score. The instrumentation was really unique just for a score when they could have just gone any typical string orchestra. So I really like that. And I can see though where there's moments where it's almost too much where you're thinking about the score and not about how it adds to it. Did you guys ever watch the 2017 film The Snowman with Michael Fassbender?
Yeah.
No, I remember that being like a huge thing. Like we were talking about that, but no, I never saw it. Yeah,
great score. One of the most distracting things I've ever heard in a movie.
Huh.
Never worked well. It was always too loud or too dramatic or something. And I listen to it often, but it never worked with the movie. And I think there's a moment or two early on where it doesn't need to heighten the situation as much as it does with the volume. Tenet had that a lot, where it was like, this score already adds to the movie. You don't need to overpower the scene with your score.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, he overpowered his scenes with all the volume.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say.
Well, Judas and the Black Messiah, people, check it out. Because there's not, like I said, there's not very much spoilers. This is based. I mean, Wikipedia this. You can probably spoil the movie for yourself. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was a good movie. I know when it comes, like I said, when it comes to One Night in Miami, I think it is a better movie in context. I think the two leads in Judas and the Black Messiah probably outperform.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think so?
Yeah,
just a little bit more than like the actors in One Night in Miami. Yeah,
it's tough too because you get such an ensemble cast in that, so it's harder to pick them out.
Right. But the two leads in this, I think, outact those four. But there's still, like, both of them are very good movies. I just like this one a little bit better because it gave a little bit more context to what was going on. So, go ahead, Alex.
As a whole, like, all four actors, like compare these two in Judas to all four in Miami. Maybe you could definitely make an argument for that. But if you take the guy because Jim Brown is not really that much involved in Miami. And
Yeah,
then,
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but then when you take, like Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, then that's becomes really like debatable. Like that's yeah.
I think you also have to think about, we have like a perceived like notion or like context of what the people in One Night in Miami should sound or act like.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think we have any idea what these two characters in and Judas are supposed to act like. So do you give the nod to the actor that you don't know?
Oh, that just throws another wrench into it all. So that's a pretty good point.
I also loved, that was a little thing I picked out. This is a totally different topic, but the nod to the fact that Trials of Chicago 7 overlaps this. I love movies that do that, where you've got your like double feature, like Cool Runnings and Eddie the Eagle, where like one nod references the other, and now I can watch both at the same, back to back.
Yeah. Eddie the Eagle. All right. Anything else for Judas and the Black Messiah?
For some wholesome family fun, watch Judas and the Black Messiah.
Some phenomenal costume design. I hope that also just wins.
Oh yeah.
Nominated is fine. I hadn't thought about a single movie in costume design that's going to compete for the Oscars until this one.
Yeah. And then Jesse Plemons doing Jesse Plemons stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then we're going to move on to Alex's Classic Corner. And this week... Oh, okay. Alex reviewed Time Bandits, Terry Gilliam's classic Time Bandits.
Time Bandits. Every time I mention... Go ahead.
Can I ask, Alex, have you how many Terry Gilliam movies have you seen?
Name a few.
Monty Python.
Yes.
Brazil.
No.
I'm blanking on all
12
Monkeys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Quixote.
Didn't he do that one with
Fear and Loathing?
Yeah, Fear and Loathing, and
yes.
Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Monty Python might be the only one.
Okay.
And we're talking about Holy Grail, I'm assuming, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just kind of setting.
So I do have a little experience, and I love Monty Python, but that's weird. I didn't even put that together. So Time Bandits. Every time you would mention Time Bandits before, I'd never even heard of the movie, so my brain would go to Clock Stoppers, which was that 2002 Nickelodeon movie. Awful, probably, by the way. I mean, I remember liking it as a kid, but it's probably terrible now. Probably was terrible then. But no, 1981 Time Bandits. It's basically this boy gets semi-kidnapped in a dream. You end up learning that he's kidnapped by these dwarves, basically, and going through different periods of time trying to, loot and take a bunch of valuable stuff that they then can, make a profit on. So this had very, I kept thinking Muppets for some reason. It felt very Muppety because it had that labyrinth feel to it. Oh, so much. I mean, you can tell this was an 80s movie, and that's not to say that's a bad thing. You can just tell it's a movie. Like, you see this, maybe if I didn't even know the year, I probably would have been able to get like within 2 to 3 years. Ryan just breaking out the labyrinth right there. Yeah. No, there was another movie this kept making me think of. It'll probably come to me as I talk. I thought it was going to be more about the boy himself. Like, I thought he was going to be more of a standout character than he was. But I was like, okay, I mean, it is called Time Bandits, so you are focusing on them. So I can't really fault you on that. It's really focusing on the dwarves and how they're stealing from Napoleon and Agamemnon. And so, that was a weird thing. I thought, there's John Cleese. John Cleese is in it, and that doesn't surprise me at all because, he was a big player in Monty Python, and I'm sure a number of other of Gilliam's other works. And then, but I thought Sean Connery's limited role, just like others, was odd. Like, I liked his portrayal of Agamemnon, but it's very short. So it's like, okay, it's like, hey man, we'll give you like probably $50,000 or something or whatever was good back then. If you just, do this for a week. Sure, man. I'll do it. So, it was a fun watch. I knew it was fantasy going into it. Fantasy adventure. This is something more catered to Ash. She's very much, we established the other day that her type of movie is like storybook fantasy. She loves wizards, she loves werewolves, she loves magic. I'm like, this is her kind of thing. This is not very catered to me. But with that being said, I did not hate it. In fact, I found myself like I wasn't necessarily enjoying it, but I kept still being engaged really towards the end. Like, there's the moment where I forget what the antagonist name is. I mean, is he just evil? Is that his name? He's like the essence of evil.
I think so. It's been a while since I've seen Time Bandits, to be honest with you.
Well, you should give it a watch, man. You and I should both watch whatever classic so then you can just refresh your memory. Right. So they were trapped in a cage, and the way that they got out, they were like, the strategy and the scenes of that were fun to watch. I remember texting you and saying, though, that the last 20-25 minutes of it was kind of dumb. Like, it was not slapstick. What's the word? It's very nonsensical, like juvenile, like he's just kind of standing there going, oh, what you gonna do? I'm gonna bring this tank out. Oh, I'm gonna bring in these cavalry of these guys from this time period. Ooh, oh, it doesn't work. And then there's a guy in a suit he's kind of like, the best way I can describe it is kind of like how Morgan Freeman is God in the Bruce Almighty movies, where he wears a suit, where there's a guy who's just like a businessman, but he's the Almighty, and he just comes out and he goes, guys, what are you doing? Clean this crap up. But it's not a bad watch. I did not regret watching this. In fact, I feel like I need to watch it again. I also text Clinton. I was like, because like Sean Connery and John Cleese, who is it? Shelley Duvall. Yeah, Shelley Duvall is in this, and I'm so sorry, and I can't. I feel bad for saying this, but she's not the greatest person to look at. I'm sorry to say that, and I just like, but for that split second, she's in there. That's all I can think about. And the other part is thinking of her in
Shining.
The Shining, where she's just with the knife. It's all I kept thinking about every time I see her face. It's all I think about, and it's terrible.
That was an apt recreation.
Stupid. Otherwise, no, it's fine. I think. Oh, did I enjoy this more than Judas and the Black Messiah? That's an interesting question. I don't know. They were neck and neck, but in such different ways. Very, very different ways. I 6. I'm gonna give this a 6. It was very, like I said, Muppety. If you like that, if you like Labyrinth, and I still haven't thought of that one other title that it made me think of. It probably is
Willow?
like, since it came out in the
Willow.
Yeah, maybe that's a good one. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate one. The only other one I could think of, and we've mentioned it before, is The Wizard. Ryan, if you pull out The Wizard, I'm going to be impressed.
Nope.
We've already established that Ryan doesn't know what the wizard is.
He doesn't know what a power glove is.
Have we talked about this before?
Yes, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, man, the Power Glove, Nintendo. That was their way of, promoting Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a hoodie with
With
that.
Fred Savage.
And Ben Savage.
I remember talking about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was enjoyable, and I did not regret watching it, but it's not the best thing I've watched.
All right. And that was Alex's Classic Corner. All right. So coming up next week, guys, more jolly good time. Nomadland is going to drop on Hulu. So we have that another Oscar contender for this week. Alex, we have a Western for you this week, sir. The Searchers, John Wayne and Natalie Wood.
Pilgrim.
Yeah, Pilgrim.
I was trying to do a John Wayne impression, and it failed.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
It's better than some of John Wayne's impressions. So
yeah, there you go. But now that so Alex, what have you've done sci-fi, horror, comedy, drama, now Western. Are we missing a genre for Alex?
Noir.
Can we start repeating some stuff?
I don't know. Does animation count? Although he's probably, I don't know what that would be. Unless he hasn't seen like The Secret of Nim, which I'm pretty sure he has.
It's been a long time since I have, but yes.
American Tail?
Yeah, I mean, my brother watches those to this day.
Because it's Fievel.
Yeah.
Fievel's awesome.
And he goes west. Oh wait, that's the
Go
second
west.
one.
Yeah. Well, technically, he goes west in the first one too. Since
Yeah,
he's in
he
Russia.
just goes even more west.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We may have to
Yeah.
we may have to find some like obscure Disney movie for him to watch.
It's gonna be like Song of the South or something.
No.
Disney's like, no. We've pretended that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. Have you ever watched The Black Cauldron? That's pretty obscure.
Which one?
It's called The Black Cauldron.
Yeah, that is a dark chapter in Disney film. I mean, it was not financially successful like as much as they'd like. I think it broke a little bit above even, but that has scarring moments.
Well, that's also one of the titles they pretended didn't exist for the longest time because it was so dark. They're like, the Song of the South in that movie. It's like, but they still pretend Song of the South doesn't exist because it's racist.
Yes.
This one they just pretended because it was so dark.
Yeah.
I don't know where's our Black Cauldron remake? We're getting Cruella, so we're getting another Dalmatians entry. And I just only stuck with one Black
I
Cauldron
second
movie.
that. Absolutely. I thought the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know, Alex. We're gonna have to find some obscure like animation movie for you to watch.
Last Unicorn?
Heavy
There
metal.
you go. Oh my
I know of
gosh.
heavy metal, but I've never seen that. I feel like I don't want to.
You might feel a little dirty and weird after you watch it.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that didn't just come into the conversation.
I don't know.
No.
If our listeners have any suggestions, let us know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, we'll figure it out next
We'll
week.
figure it out. But yeah, animation is probably the last genre that we've done, so we can probably circle back to some other stuff. That's all I got. You guys got anything else?
What are we doing? What are we doing next week? Like for all of us?
Nomadland.
Nomadland.
Yeah, Nomadland.
See, the front runner, I think it's still, I thought for a little bit it wasn't going to be the front runner. The Golden Globe nominations came out and Promising Young Woman took over like popularity for like a couple days. I guess Nomadland is still the front runner.
Yeah, I think Trial is sneaking up on it, but I think it's still Nomadland. And then Promising Young Woman, I think it's like around 3 or 4 in that list.
I miss
should
In
win.
the Heights.
Yeah.
In the Heights.
It was supposed to come out and win Best Picture this year. Now we're stuck with a woman that just wanders around the U.S. It's like the most boring Best Picture winner since The Greatest Show on Earth.
Are you talking about I Am Your Woman? Yeah, she just walks around. The baby.
Well, Netflix is pushing for this for the trial for Chicago 7. Apparently, they're going to drop it on YouTube for free for a while. So they want some people to see it.
I mean, I feel like is this going to be one of those things where Nomadland wins, and then 5 years, 10 years from now, we're like, it should have been this film. Why did we pick Nomadland?
Yeah.
Hindsight.
You mean like how Social Network and Inception and Toy Story 3 didn't win Best Picture to The King's Speech?
Yeah.
Or a number. I won't get started.
Look, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here because I know I'm the minority in this, but I think La La Land was way better than Moonlight. So
I agree. I agree.
I agree, and I've never seen either movie.
I own
you should.
Moonlight and I still haven't seen it. So
I own La La Land, and I've
Wow.
not watched it.
I rented it. Real story. I rented it from Redbox, and then I never watched it, and I also forgot to take it back. So I own it now.
Wait,
You
which
got a
one?
Best Picture winner.
Which one's
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell? Is it Moonlight or Moon?
Moon.
Moon.
Okay.
It's Moonlight. Watch Moonlight. Sam
Wait,
Rockwell's in that. It's a sci-fi. You're going to it with the right expectations. I promise.
Have you seen Moon yet?
No.
You
I
should watch
remember
Moon.
I remember you telling me about it, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting, but I never got to it.
Moon's awesome.
I feel like that's
Sounds
on
like
its sale
homework.
somewhere.
Mhm.
I have too much homework. I have to watch
Alex,
it. What am
watch
I
La La
watching?
Land. La La Land, Pacific Rim, Paddington, Paddington 2, Moon,
Oh yeah.
and any John Wayne Western. Apparently,
The Searchers.
is it good?
The Searchers? Yeah.
I can't watch John Wayne movies.
Well,
That's the only
and I
person.
also have to play like 1,000 games. I bought all 3 Hitmans. I have Phoenix to finish. I have MLB to play through. I have Clint's Valhalla to get through. And that's all like all of those individually are like 100 hours.
And this man over here is trying to like platinum MLB, aren't you?
I'm very close. It's stupid, but I'm close. The game itself is fun. Like this is one of the least laboring platinums to get. I'll tell you after the video, but what trophy was stupid, but it's enjoyable. But yeah, I platinum those games. Although one of the most recent ones that I haven't platinumed was like 2016 or 15, where I got every trophy except this one where you had to catch a foul ball and bring it back from over the stands. You had to be like the catcher and you had to bring it back in from like the first row. And that was a huge amount of luck. And I actually did it once and he reached over, but apparently it didn't trigger the announcers to be like, and he brought it out of the front row. And he just said, oh, and he caught it and it's now 2 outs. And I'm like, done. I don't want this platinum. No, but yeah, I am platinuming that.
Sweet. All right, guys. So next week, Nomadland and Alex, The Searchers, and Paddington, and whatever else Ryan said.
Unofficially, all those other titles, but yes.
Yes. Anything else, guys? All right. So
I'm just waiting for next week for Ryan to be like, you know what? I'm going to take back all that stuff I said about Nomadland. It's the greatest film I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's a possibility. I like indie films. I really do. I'm curious. I just know that the bar this year with films I've enjoyed is really high for Oscars. I want Travel to Chicago 7 to win. I want Promising Young Woman to win. I'd be okay if, I mean, I didn't love it, but if Judas and the Black Messiah comes out of nowhere and wins Best Picture, great. Or One Night in Miami, that's fine too. Nomadland seems like that film that's going to get 10 nominations and no wins. But it's a forerunner for Best Picture this year. So,
have you seen this yet?
Nomadland?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No.
Gotcha. Oh, you've seen Land. That's
Land,
right.
not Nomadland.
Yes. Yes.
Land. Not to be confused with another movie about a woman dealing with an existential crisis.
Oh, I also meant to say, I don't know if it's popped up on your Facebook feed, but apparently A24 is doing like digital screenings of Minari, and you can like pay $20 and watch it online.
That
Really?
was one of my most anticipated movies of 2020 that I'm finally going to get to see. It should be coming out here soon too, if it comes out in theaters. So,
is that the Steven Yen
movie?
Okay.
Maybe it'll sneak up and that'll win Best Picture, and we'll have 2 foreign films in a row.
Well, yeah, didn't I hear somewhere that they were fighting to say that it wasn't a foreign film?
Foreign language. I don't know if it'll get nominated for foreign language film because they changed it to international feature to exclude The Farewell 2 years ago, which is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, if it wins Best Picture and it's not in English, it's going to make people read, and that's a good thing.
It's always a good thing. I like The Farewell, by the way.
That's great.
All right.
Everybody but the Oscars liked it.
All right. So just a reminder to all of our listeners, we are on Apple, Google, and Spotify, and Amazon. If you guys don't have anything else, this meeting is adjourned. We'll see you guys next week.